You're listening to Greater Good Radio Hawaii. Please visit us online at greatergoodradio.com. Today's guest is Kent Untermann. In 1980, Kent was recruited out of the San Francisco Bay Area to play football for the University of Hawaii and later entered in the NFL. Because of a leg injury, he cut his NFL career short and started selling artwork at the Aloha Stadium swap meet. He took his NFL $5,000 signing bonus and turned it into a $14 million business known as Pictures Plus.
So how long was that evolution then, from the time you got the towels to the time you bought that container?
That is a good question, Evan. I apologize. I don't think I know what that is, but it would be somewhere in the 12-month range, I would say. I mean, it wasn't a long period of time. It was probably a year.
That's fast.
Yeah, it was pretty fast.
Did it feel like it happened really quickly as well?
No, because things never happen as fast as I want them to.
But, I mean, did you just get... Everything kept selling and selling and selling? Was everything... I mean, you never had any stock left over, so were you thinking like... Oh, I've got the magic touch. Is that kind of how?
Well, my grandmother taught me something way back that I've never forgotten, and that was well bought is half sold. And so the whole theory of what I was buying and selling at the time, if I'd go to an auction and I would buy something at a low price, it was always easy to sell it and make money. One kind of funny story I have with my wife. My wife's very conservative by nature, unlike me. That's why we make a perfect couple. And we were at an auction. This was actually Job Lot for those that might have to be around the islands a little longer. Remember Job Lot? They were a discounter of excess merchandise, and they fell on hard financial times. So they were auctioning off some of their things, and they had these little arm hugger teddy bears. They had 1,200 of them, and I was bidding on them at 55 cents each. And my wife was literally tugging my arm down, like, "Don't bid on these. 1,200. That's too many of them." And I turned to her real quickly because I couldn't lose the bid and said, "Honey, would you buy 120 of these at $6.60 each?" And she said, "Yeah, sure." I said, "Okay, well, we're getting the other 1,280 for free. Now, can you let go of my arm so I can buy them?" And we bought them, and it ended up actually doing fairly well with them. So
were there a lot of people at these auctions, or like same guys showing up all the time?
No, there was just different people, and you just have to be real opportunistic at the auctions and look for things and do your homework on it, because at an auction, things happen real quickly. So either a good deal happens, or and then you miss it, or the other thing that happens is that people get emotional and bid too high.
Mm-hmm. So the progression then, how did you actually find this supplier that you're going to buy a container from?
Well, that was the other thing. That was before you could Google things on the internet, right? So sourcing was a kind of a gift at the time. Fortunately, I was pretty relentless. I'm trying to remember how I actually got in touch, because I had seen these. They were being sold on street corners, and so I'd approached the vendors, and they said they were going to sell them to me for 5% less than they're selling them for, and obviously there's no margin in there for me to make any money. Mm-hmm. So somehow I tracked these guys down in Detroit where they made these by the container load.
So it's like a stealth operation kind of? Because back then you can't Google things. I mean, it's even mail orders advanced at that time.
Well, like sourcing anything, I mean, if you're relentless enough, you can find out where it was. So I'd go from one thing to another, find out who sells glass, well, who's selling prints, and then you open up something, look on the bottom of print, and find out who the print distributor is, and then go to the print distributor. And I think that's actually how I found a phone number that ultimately linked me to these folks.
Being that you said that you didn't spend a lot of time in the art class, or classes that were offering these type of things, how did you know what would sell and the value that you could offer to your customers?
Well, I've always been very value oriented. I've always wanted to be in a business where we can give tremendous value to our customer. My original dream was probably to have something more like Costco, until I walked into Costco and said, "Hey, these guys are doing a great job of this. This is done," right? But the pictures at the time were only $6, and so I just felt that product would lend itself really well to the swap meet, because people that go to the swap meet, by and large, they want a deal, right? You go there, it's hot, it's sunny, it's windy, it's all the rest of the things, and you want to get a deal when you're at the swap meet. So I felt I was compelled to believe that product would do very well at the swap meet.
So your container, when you brought it in, you meant to sell it at the swap meet?
Yes, our whole channel of distribution was intended to be at the swap meets. We brought in 7,000 pictures and bet that we could.
How big was your booth then? Was it?
Well, it grew
10
over.
booths?
Yeah, it grew over time, Evan. It got huge. At first, it was one stall, and then 2 stalls, and 3. Ultimately, to 4 stalls, which is actually 8 parking stalls, and it was probably 1,000 square feet. We had a big semi truck that we drove out there. Mm-hmm. It would take three of us, 2 hours to set it all up.
Because that's a logistics issue, right? I mean, you have tons of small items going into such a large space every weekend.
Right. We had
every day, actually.
all sorts of contraptions. We had things. Fortunately, our weightlifting came into play because we had shelves with all sorts of pictures and artwork on it that we would haul in and out of there. So I had some of my old football buddies that still had some muscles left, and we stayed in shape. Actually, related to that, kind of an interesting story, Eugene Price, who's an important person in our operation and runs our factory, played football with him. He actually originally came out to help me at the swap meet to lose weight on the weekends, and he's still with me today. He hasn't lost a lot of weight, but he's still with us.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for more on Greater Good Radio.